Welcome to Aggie Sports Overtime.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Aggie Sports Overtime. He is Colin Deaver. I am Lee Benson. And if you love Texas A&M football, make it a point to stick around for the next 30 minutes.
Later in the show, Lee and I will count down the biggest games for the Aggie football team this season in our top 5. But we start with the opening of fall camp. After a long off-season, Texas A&M is finally back on the practice field. The team worked out for the first time this fall back on Monday, and head coach Kevin Sumlin noticed that his team was thrilled to get the season going.
They were really excited. They've been excited for a while, so, we're one of the last teams to get started. They've been watching, don't kid yourself. They've been watching television for the last week, watching guys, the SEC network, go all over the country and stop at different places. So, I don't know if we're the last team, but we're one of the last teams to get going.
Here's a quick look at the 2015 Aggies. They returned 16 total starters from the 2014 squad that finished 8-5 and won the Liberty Bowl over West Virginia. It's the most returning starters for Texas A&M in the Kevin Sumlin era. And speaking of Sumlin, he's led the Ags to 28 wins over his first 3 seasons, which is a record for an A&M head coach.
One of those returning starters is quarterback Kyle Allen, but he is not going to be handed the starting job on a silver platter. Talented freshman Kyler Murray is in fall camp as we speak, and he's in the mix to win the job. Earlier this week, offensive coordinator Jake Spavital compared Murray to Johnny Manziel in the sense that both quarterbacks can make something happen when the play breaks down. Although that's high praise, sophomore Kyle Allen has a leg up on the job, at least based on what Spavital had planned for the Aggies' first scrimmage, which was Saturday.
Probably not go with Kyle as much in this scrimmage on Saturday and just let Jake and Kyler go out there and see what they're capable of doing. It's the first test. Everything that we've done so far is scripted, so they can actually look at the play before they go. Like, they can get the script before they go out to practice, and they can memorize it up and make sure they got their communication down. So obviously a scrimmage is more game-like, so you can throw different signals and do checks and different things, and you got to move the ball.
Media and outside spectators were not allowed at Saturday's scrimmage, so we do not know all of the details. The next time we will hear from Kevin Sumlin is on Monday. Now for a look at who will be catching passes from whomever plays quarterback this season. Let's send it over to Colin Deaver and to Shar Parker.
Thanks, Lee. Over the next 3 weeks on Aggie Sports Overtime, we'll get you ready for the regular season by previewing every position group on the Texas A&M roster.
Tonight we start with what could be the Ag's strongest unit, and that is the wide receivers. There's speed and talent all over the field in this group, and only one member of the receiving corps is a senior, meaning they'll be around for a while. 9 guys that caught a pass in 2014 returned this season, including leading receiver Josh Reynolds and sophomores Speedy Noyle and Ricky Seals-Jones. Kevin Sumlin revealed this week that Reynolds played all last season with a shoulder injury that required offseason surgery, and he still broke the Aggies' single-season touchdown record. Perhaps the Aggies' biggest strength at the position is its depth, and every receiver has a different strength, making it difficult for a defense to lock in on just one guy.
You can move those guys around accordingly, if you want to match Ricky up on blocking a corner or anything of that, you can flip those guys. And I think you can do some of those things down in the red zone to the open field. What we've been doing is we've been working those guys all over the field right now. So definitely they're all capable of playing every single position.
It brings different looks for other teams' defenses to have to guard. You can't go and try to double one person because we got 3 more that can make the same kind of plays.
It's hard for a defense to key in on one player, because if you key in just on one player, you got 3 other players that can break out. So I think as having 4 weapons, it causes the defense to just play their game, and you can't scheme just off one player.
While Texas A&M's receiving corps is deep, some of its top wideouts are still learning how to play the position. Speedy Noyle and Ricky Seals-Jones played quarterback in high school, and true freshman Christian Kirk is relatively new to the position as well. Luckily, all of these guys are very talented, and that has helped the gifted receivers learn how to play the position. That continued improvement for Noyle and Seals-Jones has the coaching staff excited, and big things are expected of them in 2015.
The ability to really take these guys and teach them their craft as a wide receiver, footwork, releases, everything, spacing. We've put a lot of work into that in the off season.
It's kind of a live and learn situation at the beginning, and you try to throw them in as many looks as possible for the guys that haven't played much receiver. So Speedy is a talented kid. He got some of those reps in the All-Star games and of that beforehand. So he got a little work, and then he had an entire spring with us, which was very beneficial for him. And Ricky, it's still taken him. It took him a good year to understand the concepts, and then last year he just kept getting better. And I think Ricky's had the biggest improvement I've seen.
Pretty impressive that Noel and Seals-Jones are A&M's number 2 and number 3 returning receivers despite being new to the position. Look for them to break out this season, and of course expect Josh Reynolds to be A&M's most reliable target again. Other guys to watch for are, we already said, true freshman Christian Kirk, who's already cemented a starting spot. Edward Pope, who had 30 receptions and 4 touchdowns a year ago. And not pictured is Boone Niederhofer, a former walk-on that racked up 29 catches in 2014.
Impressive stuff. Next up in our 2015 Aggie position previews is the offensive line. While Texas A&M has experience coming back on the field, the unit is adapting to a new position coach this fall camp, Dave Christensen. Christensen comes to the Aggies from Utah, where he spent 1 season as the offensive coordinator. In 2015, he's taken over as A&M's O-line and running game coordinator. Christensen has brought new blocking schemes and toughness to Aggie land, as well as a strong record. His youth offense racked up 190 yards per game on the ground a year ago, compared to Texas A&M's 150 per contest. The hope is that with Christensen at the helm, the Aggies' O-line will open up more holes to make an already potent offense even stronger.
He's bringing some very unique and creative and innovative ideas for the run game, and at the same time he's got an attitude that he wants to bring toughness, and if we need a run and we need to get downhill, even if it's into a bad box, we're going to be capable of doing it.
When we're called upon to run the ball, we're going to be confident that we're going to be able to run it as effectively as we pass it. In the past maybe it's been pass is the only way we can move the ball, but now we believe even just 3 days into camp we can run the ball as effectively as any other SEC team, and we're not afraid to say it.
Helping Christensen in year 1 are 3 returning starters, all on the right side of the line. Center Mike Matthews, right guard Joseph Cheek, and right tackle Jermaine Ifedi are all upperclassmen and ready to contribute. Their experience has set the tone early in fall camp and let Christensen focus on teaching some of the younger linemen.
3 guys coming back, that's a really big deal, especially for leadership on the line. This is a position where, we've got to be a unit. We got 5 guys and we got to play as one unit. So having a lot of young guys sometimes can disrupt that, but with us 3, I think that we've done very well so far, and the tape has shown that.
They're good football players. We didn't make wholesale changes. The 3 guys that have experience, we've made some adjustments and tried to give them some tools to work with, hopefully play a little bit better. But we had a bunch of young guys that need to get experience, and so we started from ground zero, and just go out and compete every single day, shuffle the deck whenever we have to, and keep the competition going.
We already mentioned the 3 returning starters, Matthews, Ifedi, and Cheek. Christensen said earlier this week that redshirt junior Avery Genesee will likely start for Texas A&M at left tackle, leaving only 1 spot to fill on the line. That's left guard. Multiple guys, including Jeremiah Stuckey, Jermaine Illuminor, and Keaton Sutherland, are competing for the starting job during fall camp.
Well, we're not even close to done with football yet on Aggie Sports Overtime. Coming up next, we'll count down the top 5 biggest games this season for the Aggies. You won't want to miss that. Stay tuned.